community member would like to know what was discussed. If you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. I'll bring tonight's meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will start tonight with board recognition. So board, it's kind of a quiet night.
Kind of.
Kind of, but there's still lots to celebrate. I think I'll just open it to you.
I'll start out.
Yeah.
Schools across the district wrapped up the year with field days and end-of-the-year celebrations filled with fun, laughter, and school spirit. Thank you to our PTA volunteers, staff, and families for creating memorable experiences that celebrated our students and the successful conclusion of another school year. And I had the honor of, and so did Kathy, of watching our superintendent and our executive director of finance get dunked in the dunk tank at the high school. I may or may not have helped them out dunking you.
Oh, you helped a lot, yes.
And Kathy, I think Kathy may or may not have helped you as well.
Yeah, Mr. Polly was kind of surprised. He didn't see me sneak up and hit the thing. It was, one of the life skills kids was throwing.
Oh.
So I
Yeah.
snuck up on the side and just went,
Gave it a
and Mr. Polly didn't see it coming, so.
That was great fun. That was great fun.
yes, thanks.
And the kids, besides us having fun, the kids were having a great time too.
Yes.
I want to shout out, Ording Middle School hosted its second annual Voices and Vibes Assembly,
Love the name.
bringing students and staff together to celebrate performing arts. The event featured outstanding performances from the OMS choir band, and jazz band, showcasing the talent of dedication of our students, musicians, while building school spirit and community.
Awesome. I love it. I don't know that they've done that before. That sounded new this year.
No, it sounded new.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and Mrs. Bailey Shattuck's third grade class at Ording Elementary School partnered with Mr. Coleman's art students at Ording High School for a unique cross-grade collaboration. The third graders dreamed up imaginative creatures on paper, and the high school artists transformed those drawings into incredible three-dimensional sculptures, bringing creativity to life while building connections between students of all ages. I would love to see pictures of that.
Yeah.
I did not see that. That's just an amazing combination of different kinds of learning. I love it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
In June, the Ording High School STEM Club awarded 13 students the district's first ever varsity letters for participating in the Washington Technology Student Association, aka TSA. Students earned this distinction through club involvement, state competition participation, and leadership achievements, completed as part of the TSA Achievement Program, recognizing their dedication to STEM education and leadership. And I think it's really fantastic that we are recognizing students that are involved in things other than sports to get a letter of recognition and to have that honor bestowed upon them. So I love that.
That's great.
I'll take the last one. Fourth grade students at Ording Elementary School in Ptarmigan Ridge put their science skills into action during hands-on squid anatomy. I got to think about that one for a minute. Squid anatomy, they identified major body systems and learned how these fascinating creatures, ocean creatures, are uniquely adapted for survival, turning classroom lessons into memorable real-world learning experiences. That just sounds really cool. So it's squid now, not frogs?
Which is weird because there's not going to be any skeleton.
That's what I was like, identifying the body parts. It's like all I mean, they have
It'd be the organs.
Yeah.
Because
This
it
is a
won't be a
tentacle and
skeleton.
this is a tentacle.
we need the students.
We do need the students.
Bring them in.
One of the fun parts of the lab, and John was there, they take out the cartilage and they call it the pen, and they dip it in the ink and they write on their lab packet using the cartilage and the squid ink from their dissection.
That's cool.
Pretty neat.
That's very cool.
Pretty cool.
So-
Doesn't smell very cool.
No, but it looks very does not.
So where does squid have cartilage?
Right on the inside, the structure of their tube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
keeps the stiffness of the structure of the
Kind of
body.
like your,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm gonna have to do some Googling tonight.
You can come next year. Volunteers are welcome.
Very good. I just had one more observation. You know, school's out, and I'm always wondering what the kids are doing. And I have seen our stadium field in use every day. I've seen the basketball court in town in use. I've seen kids on bikes and walking around. And I just want to celebrate our kids being outside, being active, and just having fun being kids.
Our downtown park is always busy. It
Yeah.
amazes me every time I drive by there, how busy that is and how many kids are down there using that park. It's awesome.
And the food bank is doing the lunches
Oh,
again
yeah.
at the park, which I think is just
And
wonderful.
I wanted to say probably a shout out to our staff, our custodians,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that
Yeah,
are
did a lot
doing
of work.
all this work right now for the schools and getting them prepped and ready. We're not that far away from students coming back and staff, so
Well,
yeah,
summer school is
probably going, right?
1st of August, Cliff, summer school.
Well, basically,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, it was beginning of August.
Summer school for which?
All?
Yeah, we have elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Special ed then too?
ESY will be happening.
Yep, we do have ESY. To note, board, you'll get this, Bonnie will send it out, I'm sure, as we get closer, but we do a summer luncheon every year to thank all of our summer help.
yeah.
That date is Wednesday, August 5th. If you'd like to join and say thank you, we'll be reminding you of that date probably a week ahead of time.
I will be camping.
I will be in Dunkirk, New York.
Oh, have fun. Okay.
All
Hopefully
right,
at the
good
beach.
stuff. Summertime, but there's still lots to celebrate.
Yeah.
We've got community and staff comments. I don't believe anybody signed up tonight. John? All right, then I will turn it over to Superintendent Effenbeeler.
Thank you. My report will be just a little bit longer. I have a few videos to share per special request from Director Kinsler. We're going to share a little bit of a video that was played in AWSP WASA from our high school team. That was sharing across the state the great things that are happening here. So it'll be a little bit longer, and I apologize in advance, but I think you'll like the content. Kudos to Marcy, our business services team in the district, for another clean audit. We always audit the previous fiscal year. There are no deficiencies or material weaknesses in our fiscal side of the house. As you recall, this is old news, but it carries over. We did have a finding previously around internal controls for Federal Nutrition Services guidelines. In short, there were a few free reduced lunch applications where we didn't have the supportive documentation under audit, so that carried over into this. So the final report does have that finding, but the finances, once again, are clean, and I don't know how many years in a row that is, but thank you to our Director Bannon. Squid dissection, I threw some pictures in there. You can see Darla up there. It was a lot of fun. Both schools engaged and participated, and kids loved just being hands-on engaged and working as scientists, and we love that inquiry they do. It was a lot of fun. We did have a special guest. I told you about it last time. Dubs, it didn't sound quite like congratulations, but Dubs did speak to OES, and boy, if they weren't excited and giddy before that, they erupted when that happened. So we put those videos out online, and we gave Dubs some swag to include Oregon Duck chew toys. So I didn't get that. picture posted online. We didn't cause any major rivalry, but that was a lot of fun to have Dubs come to town. A nice little up boost on culture. Our kindergartners gave some advice to our graduating seniors, so which is weird to think about, but this is the class of 2038 giving advice to the class of 2026, and I wanted to bring that forward. So Jill will play that video so you can hear their advice too.
Don't forget to bring your backpack. Don't give up. Don't forget to bring your water bottle. Don't forget to give your mom a hug.
To my
Do
love.
not listen to people that say bad words. And listen what your friends say, but if they say bad words, then you don't listen
And
to
I
your
saw
friends.
my
Don't forget
reflection,
your keys for the car.
snow-covered
Never forget to close your gate.
landslide.
Don't forget to be happy.
Oh,
Don't forget stuff you need.
What is love? Can child
Don't forget to call your parents. Do not forget your lunch and your
Can I
water.
sail
Don't forget to
through the
eat
changing
breakfast.
ocean
Don't forget to play.
Can I have
Don't forget to take a shower.
seasons
Work
of
hard.
my life?
Don't forget to do your homework. Don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to be kind.
So I tell you, there's hope for the future right here in Ording. That was a wonderful video, and we appreciated their advice to help send off our seniors. Of course, we had a wonderful graduation, great weather. Director Milo, you have to remember whatever it is you said about the cover handing outing and the flow. That worked out wonderfully, so thank you for being at practice. We put out tons of videos, tons of information. We had a lot of viewers online, and I thought you'd be interested in the statistics of kind of what happened. So this is just the last few years. We've seen a 708% increase in likes on Facebook, a 1,235% increase in views on Facebook. On Instagram, it's 625% increase on the likes, over a 2,000% increase on the views, and our overall engagement, we went from 9,356 combined likes to this year, over 302,000 combined views, our engagement this year. So if you just look at what's been happening, it's been huge. So families have come to recognize and know that we're putting things out. So the engagement has just been tremendous. So good job to Brittany and people. And we have her station so she can capture these real-time moments after. And a lot of people appreciate not only the front end photos, but what's happening on the back end too. So really, really cool. I got a cool video to show on this one. OMS band concert, packed house, 2 stages. There is so many people engaged in the program, you can't put them all in the same gym at the same time anyway. Did our viewership like it? I don't know. Jill's going to cue up the video so you can see. They did such a good job, played their full set. The band concert was phenomenal.
It was.
Field days, I did throw a couple dunk tank pictures in there. I am so good at taunting. Miss Levy dunked me probably 5 times.
I'm not sure it was that many.
Yeah, it felt like a lot. It was cold, but we had a great time, a lot of engagement, a lot of smiles, and we're really appreciative to our parents and guardians and families that came out to make that possible. Lots of volunteers in our schools during those days. Last day of school, we sent them off with bubbles, as is their tradition. There were tears of joy, tears of sadness, all the above, but wonderful send-off to get them home to summer and in the arms of awaiting families. We did present shortly after that, a couple weeks later, 2 different groups. Our high school team shared, and their session was on building shared leadership, and they called it a pathway to improving student outcomes, elevating voice, and enhancing student experience. Now, y'all know Mr. Carlson. 50-minute session. He was probably 30 minutes late, 15 minutes into the presentation. Just because there's a lot to tell and a lot of great things. Well, one of the things they did, they had about a half hour of video from staff and students. This was a packed room, over probably 55, 60 people. Director Kinsler's husband, Mike King, was there watching. And I want to share just a little bit about what our students had to say, if you don't mind. So this will be about 5 minutes reflecting on their experience.
All right, well, thank you guys for meeting with me today. Super excited that you're joining me to kind of just do a debrief on some of our activities from the year. And I've really enjoyed having you guys as a part of the Principals Advisory Council. What I'd like you to do is just tell us your name, grade, and why you wanted to be a part of the Principals Advisory Council.
My name's Morgan. I'm in 10th grade. And why I wanted to be part of the Principals Council is because I wanted to help make the school a better place without like being a part of ASB, like another way to do it, and having not such a big commitment on like one school.
I'm Violet Campanelli. I'm a sophomore, and personally I thought doing this could teach me a lot of valuable skills and help me socialize more and get to know more people.
I'm Zach. I'm a senior, and I really joined because I saw a difference. I saw a chance to make a difference at this school, and I wanted to take it because I think we had a great community here.
I also think having different sides to like what we think about the school, because you can't see everything at a school, so having different opinions, voices, and ways that we can change it, and not just looking at like one small thing, like looking at the big picture to like combine from one idea to like expand it.
I also think it's like really helped us reach teachers in a way that we couldn't before. With like through an official capacity, it allows students' voices to be heard to those teachers, and I think that is really important.
Our voices will have a bigger impact on how kids feel coming into the high school instead of feeling very lonely and confused on it.
I think for me, like even in my circles, like when I would go around and, you know, ask questions for our meetings, there was like a lot of positivity between like my circles and even just other people in my class that overheard that, you know, we're actually getting feedback to like an official means, and you know everyone was just like really happy. Like it was like kind of that invigorating finally that they get their voices heard.
That's cool, man. Yeah, thanks, Zach.
Student voice, I think, is the most important thing in running whether that's any school, but also like for businesses, you always want to hear the consumer. You want to hear the person who is getting affected by the most. So like student voice, I think giving them the power to make their own decisions, take over their own learning, and create events and projects that are meaningful to them and have an impact on them and their belonging within the school. I think that's like one of the most important things to run a school, and most important things for a school to be a place where students want to come to every day.
If students have that feeling of input and that their voice matters, they're going to feel more valued coming to school. It's their place too, and they're going to be more comfortable, and it's going to create just a better relationship with everybody if there's that sense of collaboration.
I think as a student myself, seeing people like my peers representing me makes me feel like I'm represented like correctly. Like I can trust them that they're going to like put out a voice that I can be backed by.
It's elevating that student voice and creating a lot of outreach so everyone has that same opportunity to get the same representation. Everyone deserves to be able to come to school and have the same feeling of participation. Even if it looks different, everyone deserves to just feel that value and spirit and ownership in their school.
I think we also planned a lot of like events that are student driven and student led. I know in previous years that it was kind of, this is what we do every year, so it's an annual thing. Of course, we're going to do it. But I feel like this year a lot of students took more ownership of their own work, and we encourage that a lot. When it came to like assemblies and little projects of student recognition to get that spirit involvement, it was like student on student, like peer encouraged and like led. And I thought that was really powerful, and that was really cool. And that was like what our whole vision is of like, yes, we want the spirit, but because we want people to come to school and feel like they have fun and have like a belonging within our school as well.
I would just say it's important for any administrator or any teacher to just be trying to recognize, individual student strengths. So before the 8th grade, I wasn't very involved in any sort of leadership anything. And even then, my grades were pretty subpar. I wasn't a very active student. And then in the 8th grade, I met Dr. Lee, and he was doing the whole Dignity program. And, I shared a little bit of my voice, and he said, well, I think you should run this. And then that kind of just jump-started the whole thing for me. And so just having a person that was able to see, let's give this a try and kind of take me out of my comfort zone, and then, just push me to whole new heights and just elevate me was a really important thing.
So keep in mind, that's 4 years deep now. We threw some words out in 2022 like agency and dignity and efficacy and ownership, and they were foreign concepts, and now at this point we're not too really deep along, and your kids are confidently speaking in front of a statewide audience, and that work is resonating. So I don't know if you have thoughts or questions about it, but it was a great session. Dr. Lee and Dr. Bloomberg did a wonderful session backing that up, really thinking about how do you take that work and then get feedback in the hands of students and staff tied to your major learning outcomes using AI, and it was a lot of fun. And we're certainly excited about the journey we're on, thinking strategically. If you have the opportunity to provide vision and kind of a value set on goals 3 and 4, Dr. Lee and I are going to take some of your thinking from May, and now we're going to try to condense the number of measures across the 4 goals. I think you have 22 aggregate measures. Your wish is to not lose sight of voice, not lose sight of agency, keep that front and center, but maybe think about what are the key priorities and try to whittle that down, so maybe there's 2 or 3 for each goal. So if you have time in July, we would ask you to do that. If you don't have time, well, he and I are going to take everything we've heard and what we know about you, and we're going to come up with something we think that does it anyway. So don't worry about it if you're going on vacation. We'll bring a draft in August, and what we hope for is that we can take your value set and the vision, reshape the strategic plan for the next 2 years, and we're working with our district leadership team on what we would call 2-year learning targets. So really to take us through next year and the end of the year after to make sure we're continuing to build on this work. So that's kind of what we see taking shape. So either by the August board meeting, or I'll call it the September board work session, we would see a reintroduction to you of a refined strategic plan that'll carry us through 2028.
I have to tell you, I started that, me too, survey, and it's a bit difficult, because when you say, when you challenge us to think about those goals and ask the question, what does success look like, and what will our community see when, if this is wildly successful, what will our community notice? And I want to point to examples like that, and I'm like, we're seeing important, like life critical ideas around dignity and agency that are critical to our vision being echoed back to us by the people who matter most, the students who matter most. And so you ask these questions simply, and I sit there for an hour and stew on it and try to come up with what's next.
You only spent an hour?
I know, I was only one question in.
Well, I did, and then I went, click.
Delete, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a challenge for our board. We want to continue to push forward with this, and we'll do the survey.
I printed out the 2 questions so I could continue mulling over and thinking about it, and it's very thought-provoking, and I didn't want to just throw something out there.
Right, yeah, you don't want to just take it lightly.
Hey, I'm not that far behind now.
Yeah.
I have been gone, so I'm like
doing important work.
Yes, you have.
But the work is resonating, and as you can see, it's in the hands of others, and not only in the hands of kids here, but it's in the hands of others across the state, which is pretty cool. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Director Fries. As you know, we have been working on impact fees predating in Pierce County. My superintendency, Tom Siegel, has been carrying the charge when he was a superintendent in Bethel for a long time. And we had a really good plan after multiple meetings working with the subgroup that the county designated to review impact fees. And we've been working on this for years. Big day come. I was coming from the conference to Chelan with Kim. I didn't know if I would make the testifying session. So Cliff, the plan was he'd represent Ording. But he wasn't going to be by himself. He was going to be with Puyallup and Bethel and Sumner Bonnie Lake and legal counsel and a whole host of others. And he gets in the call on the afternoon of the 30th and notices he is the only one there. And he continued to be the only one there. And after a couple of council members spoke, builders spoke against the impact fee ordinance, he did his best to ground in data. And it was close, but it was a vote of 4-3, and the impact fee ordinance passed. So kudos to Cliff for out there keeping up the good fight.
Thank you.
I did provide some comments for you all, if you would like the district to respond or me to create a draft. I got 2 of you that sounded favorably. I would like at least a majority, and then I'll work with Carrie on what a response might be. But what that does for our district and our local taxpayers is huge. Just dinosaur math, if you figure out the midpoint average by 2930 between a 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom house of where the stair-step fee goes to from 4,600 to somewhere around 10 to 15,000, Cliff and I still forecast, we think there's 5,000 homes coming by 2035. Well, 5,000 times 5,000 is a $25 million bill of debt obligation that your local taxpayer will not have to pay when it comes time to run another bond. So you're talking big dollars, huge benefit to the local taxpayer or a future board. Remember how many things that we have a dire need around that we could not afford? A future board now can think about, gosh, maybe we could do some other things. So either way you go, it's a huge win, and we're very appreciative to our Pierce County Council in the aggregate for their support. I drafted a letter to the council members and the Pierce County executive that voted in favor and supported this. So I already sent messages from the district. And in our fall newsletter, I'll be writing a little article, because if you remember last fall, we sent that out to every residence in our district, over 20,000 registered voters. And I do want to follow up and say thank you to the council and for Executive Millo's leadership. So you'll see that in our fall newsletter.
Thanks a lot, Cliff, for attending. I haven't been around, so I didn't respond. I did read it, and I read what the one person said, and I was really glad I wasn't there, because I was irate.
Yeah, it was not good.
There were false statements in there.
One of us in this room already sent an email. That person is nameless, and we will not be sharing that. However, on behalf of you all, I would be happy to draft something upon the return of my vacation. And it sounds like there's enough consensus that we'll create a draft, and then you can, I'll share it, and you can say yay or nay. Safety net, huge kudos to Director Westover. She's not here. We budgeted about 1.5 million this year, and we're going to come in a little over 2.6 million. That literally makes our budget. The downside is the vast majority of our revenue comes in July and August, where we've been spending it all year. So it continues to widen our revenue to expenditure gap during the year. However, we're very thankful for all of our work. I believe 99.7% of the request is what we received this year. That's, again, she's pulling numbers. I've never seen numbers that high in the entirety of my career. Like we might think 85% or 90%. So she's very thorough over in her team. So kudos to everyone in our special services department. And then I knew you'd be excited on this one. I shared some preliminary scores last month. Where we had enough of a sample size to think it's accurate. And so look at what's happening in math across the district. Dark green is double-digit gains, so we're gaining 11%, 5%, 2, 10, 9, a half, and a slight decline at high school. We don't have that one quite figured out. But the aggregate improvement is there. And if you look at the ELA side, we're seeing that too. Double-digit or high single-digit gains in many areas. Sixth grade is a little bit of a decline. That mirrored a trend across the state. Because you probably don't remember, last year, sixth grade, last couple years actually, was pretty strong. We saw a dip at sixth grade across the state, and we kind of mirrored that trend. But overall, overall, when we're looking at SBA proficiency, we're seeing really good improvement still, and we're excited about the pathway we're on. Even more exciting, I wanted to share this. 3 years ago, we were talking in our retreat about data and how do we track, how do we monitor, how do we make sure SBA is not a surprise, and we're intervening and supporting with the students that need it most in a timely way. Well, look at the math growth data using iReady. Every school is showing student growth improving using iReady. And if you look at that typical or expected growth, every school's in the double-digit gain. Now look at how many students are making stretch growth. 15 to almost 20% making stretch growth in math. That's huge. And if you look at ELA, that story mirrors as well. So if you look at student achievement and the growth from last year to this year, I wanted you to see how well that typical or expected growth is going. And again, high school, 23% growth. So even though that the SBA is a little bit lower and we see a dip, you have over 1 in 5 kids making significant stretch growth. They're closing those gaps. Now, we'd be kidding ourselves, so I wouldn't say buy into the politics. There were learning loss gaps that happened during COVID and the pandemic, and those are still prevalent in our system. I know they are. And to see our kids making that kind of gains across the district, pretty exciting stuff. So we're happy about that. But what are we going to do to move forward? Well, we're still going to be looking at our puzzle of practice and theory of action and coming back to your goal areas and our school improvement plans. We'll believe we're very adept and ready to present those in November. We have better data now than we've ever had. So the better the data, the better we can get our finger on the puzzles of practice and build a theory of action around it. Self-ID, that's still going to be a major focus for us, both at the individual teacher and the PLC level. So ongoing inquiry, and we're going to add some things this year that connect the core competency work and the assessment capable learner work. And we see tight benchmarks in place. So remember, if you remember this year, Aaron talked about the phase, we got to learn the core competencies and then we're going to start to build our unit plans. That took us a pretty big, good chunk of time last year. This year, out of the gate, we know what those are. So we can move out of the gate into concrete benchmark assessments around rigorous standards and start that process about, well, who's working well, who's not, what time, what more support, how can we help and adjust. So that work will hit the ground early this year. So that'll connect the dots, and we'll share more in August and September when we get to CSIP about how does that idea of assessment capable learner, core competency, and self-ID continue to improve. But we're excited about the growth we've seen, and we don't think that's the end for us. We think we're just getting warmed up. So that wraps up my report. I know I have a lot of videos in there this time, but there's a lot of good things to share. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
How are you recognizing and celebrating that growth with staff?
Cupcakes. We visited every school and PLCs as soon as we got that insight. It was the last week of school, Monday, Tuesday, and we did emergency stand-up meetings and celebrated the heck out of people before they left.
Oh, good.
That's great. That's great.
I'm glad that they could start their summer with that
real positive
boost of good news.
With new principal, vice principal coming in at OES, how, right, with what this looks like and you're hitting the ground running, are we able to bring them up to speed quicker?
And they were not at our June advance, so they get their own special repeat version. Dr. Lee's meeting with them next week. So we've been meeting a lot and regularly up till now, but both Allison and Jennifer have been on vacation. Trying to get some time in. So next week, Dr. Lee will replicate what happened to our advance and start to dig into our strategic work and the data side since they weren't able to go. So we think that everyone's going to be hit the ground and running by the time we move to our leadership advance the second week in August to really launch next year. But we're launching on a foundation of strength, which is really encouraging.
Very exciting. That's very good. I want to thank you for the extra time in your report with the videos. And I just want to I'm going to put it out here now instead of later on, but those conferences that are attended by the professionals in our district and our leadership, and we know what that's like to be there at the WASDA conference and to watch our students actually present on behalf of Orting, and it's just as exciting. I didn't get to view it in person, but I heard that it was so well received as our superintendent stated, my husband was there and I made him go. Because I couldn't. But I wanted to know, and everybody loves Matt. Matt's just, he's
a
just
people person.
But not just Matt, but the whole idea of what our kids are doing. My husband sat around people that were just like, how do you do that? That's amazing. And you're so lucky to live in Ording, and your kids are really going places, and I need to get my staff on board. And I thought it was really interesting that those were the comments that he was coming away with, that they're talking about, I can't even get my co-leader to think like this. And I was thinking to myself, that's because you're starting with the adults instead of the students.
Right.
And so, but anyway, so well received. Ording is just doing amazing things with our students, and that student voice that we as a board have really kind of ground in, do more, do more. We're just always asking for more. It's never going to be enough, I don't think.
We're still going.
Job security. But as evidenced by the students that were part of those videos, they are articulate. They can carry a thought, and they can explain to other people what they're doing and why it matters. And I don't know a single person who is not going to succeed in life with that, no matter what their test score says.
And what's cool is we have a whole district full of those kids.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's even better.
I love the way Matt opened it up to other kids in the building, kids that might not necessarily be the people in the ASB or those different groups. Because, like they said, everybody's voice is important for us to understand how to reach everybody.
Yep, we do envision a principal advisory structure at every school next year. We had it in most schools last year, and then he hasn't really started yet because I don't think Dr. Bloomberg is far enough along for Dallas and Carly to provide insight on the book yet. But whatever Dallas and then Renee learn about student-led instructional rounds, we see our students leading our other students through that work next year at some point. So much of what you saw and heard, we want to get those structures embedded at every site.
I love that. Students leading students.
Yeah.
Students teaching students. Students, student to student. That's what it should be.
And adults learning from observing.
Yes,
Like
that's so good.
And we'll find out hopefully next month if Ording was selected to present at the WASDA conference. So we haven't heard back on that, but we hope to have a presence there in November in Spokane.
I voted yes.
So did I.
So did I.
I'm hoping my grandchild comes early and I can go.
Yeah.
The last minute. Can I
Or
get in?
we bring. No,
I know.
Nice.
Great report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of good wins in there. All right, speaking of reports,
Oh, yeah.
presented by Matt and Liz. Yay. We have our capital facilities update.
Well, I think we sort of hate to follow all of that.
I don't know, there's some pictures in here, I'll check that thing out. Yeah.
So we're going to divide up our report here tonight, and I'll kick things off with sharing a little bit about what we just recently were able to do at the Planning Commission. So we had what they call a pre-application meeting with the Planning Commission where we could kind of give a draft submission to them in advance and talk through kind of how we're meeting the design guidelines within the city. And so it was really our first formal application to the city. So it was great and things went really well. And I think some of the groundwork and the discussions we've had and many people here in the collaboration has been great. And so it showed that night as we got some good input and we kind of have a good path forward for our next step. So these are some of the images that we showed. I think you've seen similar things. There's just been some minor adjustments moving forward, but we talked about how the materials, how the shape of the building, how the way we're working with, in this case, materials and detailing to comply with the design guidelines and also utilize not just the design guidelines as some of the basis of what we're doing, but also some of the district goals of making sure it's low maintenance, it's gonna last a long time, it's gonna look good for a long time because they're low maintenance, durable materials. So we kind of talk about how those two things can mesh and we can get the best of both worlds for the community. I won't go through too much detail here, but hopefully you've kind of seen how things are shaping up. Just to give you a little bit of example of sort of the type of documentation we provided to the city is we went line by line into the code that is part of the Planning Commission's purview, and we described how we're meeting the code, whether it was with our roof overhangs, in this case, as you see here, or with materials, which I think you're going to see on the next couple slides. Some of what you're seeing here, we did talk with them about specifically, is in the materials you see, obviously brick is kind of the primary material, and then we have something that looks like wood. We wouldn't want to use real wood because that's very difficult to maintain and not a good thing long term. So there's a lot of different products out there now that are metal, but they look like wood. And so we kind of reviewed those, showed some samples to the Planning Commission, and got a good kind of thumbs up that that's a good direction to pursue. It's meeting the design guidelines as well as it meets district needs of being low maintenance and not having to repaint it, stain it, do all those kinds of things. And again, just another kind of snapshot of some of the information that we kind of reviewed with the Planning Commission in terms of, again, making sure the layout of our building and the ins and outs are meeting the intent of the code. And in the end, after we kind of went through all of these things, we got a number of questions. We went through those questions. Most of the questions were more general about the project itself, not too much into each little detail. And I think that was good because in the end they said, you know, we're feeling good about this. So we got a good positive reception at our pre-application. So next step is we're going to be submitting a formal application, and then what happens is the city writes a staff report, goes back to Planning Commission, and then we'll be back in front of them. Maybe the beginning of September or beginning of October, depending on how exactly the timeline works for that, but relatively soon. So this is our first big permitting step, and we're really happy to have gotten through step number one. So
I want to thank you, Matt.
was
I got
so
to
good.
go to the meeting, and Matt did a fantastic job fielding the questions from the Planning Commission and presenting these ideas, and they were so supportive, and I didn't necessarily expect that going into our section of the meeting, given the conversations from the other planning projects. So I just want to thank you for representing us and carrying forward the vision that they seem to really like. So.
And to add to that, Matt's office did an excellent job in the backup. He showed you some slides that had the backup, but just imagine line by line that they went through and identified the requirements.
Specific details. Here's how
very,
we're matching
very
up.
thorough.
Yes.
So, Matt did a great job in the presentation as well, but definitely the backup was there.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
For sure. Probably
Oh,
headed off a lot
that
of
leads
it.
us to,
Schedule.
that leads us to the next piece, which is just keeping going on schedules.
Right, I'll chime in. So the schedule you've seen is a bar chart for a while. There has been some shifts, and that is because of the work we've been coordinating with the city. Pretty subtle shifts, but the biggest milestone after the ADR is site review permit. So just a big kind of step back up on the permitting. We have 4 major permit processes: ADR, and then the site review, which is civil, and then the foundation piling permit, and then the building permit. So the other, that's our start kind of point, and we're going to be submitting for those permits over the next 6 months. This outlines very specifically some of the processes, but once we outline those permits in conjunction with the city, then think on the other side as soon as we want to construct, right? So we're working with Skanska on those start dates. So those are kind of the bookends we're working with. The start dates, as a reminder, the important ones are April for footings and pilings, and then the start date for erection is June. So I'm bouncing around a little bit, but I think I wanted to give a lens of the kind of what we've been working with, coordinating with the city for these permit processes to support those start dates with Skanska.
And Liz, have all of the partners, construction partners, have all of those been selected at this point?
At this point, they really have. We have a couple small, I would say smaller scopes of work that are more during construction that we haven't gone out to multiple vendors to inquire with. Think of like structural testing, right? And right now we're getting quotes for roofing inspection. So some of those vendors and consultants that we're working with for more inspections during construction, we have not selected those yet. But as far as the pier and design, that was our latest consultant we've added to our team, was a specific pier and footing foundation kind of entity. It's really pier design that we've added to our team to submit for permit to support our structural engineer in NAC's office.
Okay.
But
Part of that in particular is just to make sure that it's smooth going to get our permit through the city. So it's a little bit of a extra step to make sure we have this, but that's going to help us get that permit in time.
The reason I ask is a community member was starting to, they're like, oh, who are you using for such and such? And I'm like, we got Skanska. So
we have a team list. We can make that public however we can share. It would be great. Just let us know how to share that.
And I think it also takes us to this next slide, because there's a lot of construction members who are going to be part of the construction team that are not selected. So the majority.
Okay. Cliff had something to add.
Are you referring to like subcontractors who's doing the roof? And the
Yeah.
No, none of those have been selected yet.
Oh, okay.
Those will be part of it. We'll go out to bid after we get through the GCCM process. So none of those vendors, if folks are talking to the community, have been selected yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I've had a few people say, when are we starting? When are we going to see something? And I said, don't quote me on this, but you might see activity in April of 27th. So am I okay with?
That's accurate. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm sorry, I didn't distinguish. So we're really talking about just our consultants for designing and testing.
Okay, good.
Cliff
We
is
have a
absolutely
lot,
right.
we have a lot of tradespeople in the community, so I've been asked a few times, like, oh, who's doing your plumbing? I mean, just as an
They're
example.
watching closely.
Yeah, and I'm like, check our website, I don't know. So, okay, so that's all still in motion and
That is in
to be
motion,
determined.
and it's a good segue to the next slide, which is talking about how to support Skanska in our startup. So our first bid package that we're calling it is for that early foundation and piling scope of work. So that's when you'll see dirt moving. That's our kind of mobilize in April date. So back out time, Skanska's going to be pricing that in January. So Matt's office submits a pricing set in January, and Skanska takes 4 weeks to price that, and they'll come to the board for approval or a summary in March. And then that will give.
It's not that far away, really.
It is very close.
Yeah.
So that's bid package, is what we're calling bid package 1.
Okay.
So, and then we're splitting it up. This is really typical in a lot of school construction to make sure that we're taking advantage of the spring weather. And so we do separate, it's very common to separate them into multiple bid packages. It'll still be summarized within the overall construction budget, and we'll have targets for every single big package to make sure that we're meeting budget. The second bid package is the architectural, the major building, and that is to support the June start, right? So that'll be bid out, I think, in March, and then you'll come to the board in April or May.
Okay.
So if you do get questions from subcontractors, then definitely direct them either to Cliff or eventually to Skanska, and you can let them know in January we're going to be having a public bid process starting in January. So that's
So that
really
gets
the
advertised
key time.
in Daily Journal of Commerce, the local newspaper. It gets advertised in multiple ways.
Okay, good.
So if there's any other way, we sometimes post it also on our website. There's lots of other ways we can do outreach.
Part of what we'll do is probably mid-September, we'll run a Meet the Team video where we introduce Matt, Liz, NEC Alliance, and then Skanska. We'll follow that up with a video, which by then we'll have a little bit of clarity on how the permitting's going. It's too soon for us to be able to speak about timelines until we have clarity. But a third video will likely unveil timelines and what's happening, what you can expect when. So somewhere October, November, we'll start to talk about that publicly so people know what's coming, and we'll continue those videos over time. But with the design element, we're feeling confident now to put that on the website. So Brittany's working with Matt's team for updated schematics and pictures, because until you get planning commission heads up, we would be silly to put a design out there and say this is it, and that without the approval. So some of those things will phase over time as we reach each of these upcoming milestones.
Cool, thank you.
And as you can see from this slide, you're going to be seeing bid results come in 2 different time periods for different parts of the project. So.
This is a quick summary about the D form process, so there's milestones for this as well. We'll be coming to the board with some resolutions over the next 6 months. And so what this outlines is we are going to be submitting, there's a couple more milestones that are more important, meaning that they are bigger milestones to lock in the overall budget, and that comes in the fall. But right now we're laying the groundwork for square footages and things like that we're coordinating with OSPI to lock it in on our D3. So that's our next submittal, is our D3 form. It's all online now, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit of an easier process that way. And so these will come to the board with some backup. So you'll see resolutions as well as letters that note all the way from when you're ready to construct, as well as some of the D5 forms is the SEPA approval. So that's our biggest, when we talk about these bookends, I like to call them the bookends, our biggest milestone is that at some point the OSBI wants to see that we were, have approval for a SEPA process for the environmental review, for the determination of non-significance, meaning your project, you're mitigating the impact that you're making for this project. And that's required at D5. So we're not able to submit that D5 until the SEPA is approved through the city. And that's part of the site review process that Matt's office is going to submit next month. So it is all connected, and so what's kind of nice is we really have these milestones outlined now between now and June for the final D10, not final, but the D10 submittal for when they actually break ground. So definitely I can answer questions. I can go through each D form process. I'm not sure if we need to, but definitely if you have any questions on this, I'm happy to answer.
What does D mean?
I don't know, good question.
Basically, as part of getting our SCAP funding, or what they call that we call the state matching funds, there's a series of forms. They have a D and a letter to them, and I don't actually remember where the D originally came from, but
we submit on, they provide back even, and we have timelines, that we need to submit within, timelines they submit back to the district. But the term D, that's a great question. I've been doing this a very long time, and I don't know the answer.
Well, I don't think
it's going to Google that tonight.
That important to know, but.
I've never seen an answer to that. That's just what the state calls it.
I mean, I'll sleep well tonight not knowing, so we're okay.
Never thought it was a great question.
I have a feeling you'll have a lot more questions as you start presenting those documents with the backup to us, because a lot of us will be eyes crossed going, what the heck does this even mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Learning gen ed language was a growth opportunity for me. Now I'm learning more construction language. So, the traffic study. What does something like that look like? And is there information the community would be interested in?
Yeah, and they will be.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's going to be a piece that the community should be interested in, right? There's such a major 162 and the impacts, we want to make sure that we're making things better or not making things worse. So we have talked about this traffic study. I put it on here because it is such a big piece of, I think, the project. And so we are embarking on that. We've approached the city with our SEPA that we're going to submit, as the traffic study is going to have Betty, I like to call it Betty White Road, but that intersection at White Hawk is not going to be constructed for an indeterminate amount of time. So we are studying, north of the elementary school, how that's going to impact the neighboring districts for sure. Right now, our traffic engineer is gathering data from both, the intersections and counts and things like that, as well as last fall, or maybe it was fall, that we had done our own counts on the trips that you were making in and out of your high school campus. So as a bigger picture, that is part of the mitigation that the city is going to require the project to do. So that's going to be submitted with the CPA.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Carrie, because that was the first and foremost thing in my mind. They might want to use the tool of social media to figure out exactly how angry our community is currently with what's going on with the construction on Kansas and the shutdown of that road and the flagging that's going on with the one-way down Calistoga. It's been a nightmare. People are angry. They're hostile. They're vociferous. So I don't know that, whoever's doing that study, whatever's going through and that you can count, put emotion and feeling into it too, because people are super angry right now.
Yeah, I would hate to see us taking the blame for the fact that our traffic is a nightmare here, and that, it is before it is.
So the good thing is that this is the type of analysis that's being done is the type of analysis that's required for pretty much any permit like this around the state. And the analysis is really specific in terms of what it needs to look at and how to look at it. So there's specific ways where you look at, how are we affecting what they call AM peak traffic, rush hour in the morning, PM peak traffic, and then you also usually need to look at traffic signals and turning lanes and stuff like that. But we're not trying to assess whether they are good or bad. We're only assessing the incremental impact that we might have by building a new school. So because we need to be responsible only for what we're responsible for. So and we are not road builders, obviously, right? So we're school builders. So I think that's hopefully in terms of the permitting process, it needs to be kind of by the book and by the numbers. So that's what we're preparing, is to have, as you said, very specific data. We've clarified with the city, here's the type of data we need to provide, so we're doing that. And then that'll become part of the permit analysis.
Thank you for explaining it that way. That was
Yeah.
actually really helpful.
Because it's kind of weird, it's like, well, what are you going to look at?
Right. And so there are a lot of existing conditions that aren't because of enrollment increases, right? That's a lot of existing issues with traffic.
And we want to be good neighbors too, to our neighbors.
And one thing I've been explained by the traffic engineer is like we're taking the number of students and trips from current campus at the high school, we're moving it north. So in some ways that is a benefit, right? Because we're separating those two uses or the two students. And so we can look at a lot of things in a lot of different ways. We're not really increasing to such a degree the number of trips, frankly. But it's not.
So you got a school that's here that's just moving down the road.
So I think just to remind some of our terminology, we can come back with other terminology of just like once the study is a little bit further along, we can come back with some little more terminology of some other findings.
Yeah, I see, as the planning commission had some sensitivity with running cars through the neighborhood. Not knowing when the roundabout's going to be built, it's necessary, but there was some sensitivity there, so I'm pretty sure we can anticipate questions and opinions about whether that's a good idea or not. But, we can defend that idea, we can just explain we don't know when the roundabout will be built. But there's some aspects of the traffic information, maybe it's not exactly the data in the study, but things that we're going to have to field, comments we're going to have to be prepared to answer.
Right. But just also think about the queuing and how many cars were pulling off of 162. That's solving a big backup.
Yeah, and they're going to go to the light, that elementary will go to the light, which will make a huge difference, because there's going to be a light in control. Whereas at the high school, there's a light in control, yes, but there's a lot of congestion there. And you have high school students coming out when you have elementary parents coming in to pick up their students in buses, and it's going to alleviate a lot of that congestion. I think it's gonna.
And we're happy to do even a one, an outreach just for this issue as well, to, explain some of the benefits
That might be a
as well.
really
We
good
can have a
idea.
town hall, maybe someone will come, but we've at least allowed a comment period.
And I live in that neighborhood, so.
Yeah.
So potentially, right, where is the route gonna be leaving? I know going down Daffodil, but to get to the traffic light, right?
Yeah.
Is it, what roads are they going down, right? Probably right in front of my house.
Probably.
But,
It could be, but you may see
yeah.
some mitigation. So if you think about the 500 homes or so that live in Carbon River Landing or River's Edge, which are probably current drivers, because most parents aren't gonna let them walk down the freeway or the trail. Those all become walking students. Then you think about the nature of how we're rebounding and aligning transportation. That separates traffic, where current traffic goes to both, now it's site to site. That happens next year before we open.
Yeah.
If you think about the aggregate increase in students, you're talking about over this year, 50. If you go 2 years ago, the 12. So we're not adding substantive amounts of new students. And if you look at the age of said students, well, we might have 1 or 2 more buses, but they hold 60 or 70 people at a clip. So, and when you think about the congestion, which will be part of the story of what happens at the high school, we think overall, if you look at the big picture context, things improve. But part of what they're going to do is not look at just at our site, but they're compelled to look at other school sites. What's the average, trip average and impact? But that'll be definitely some things that we're going to want to get those talking points out there. But what we see initially is things don't worsen, they actually get better. And then they even get better yet once we're able to get to a roundabout and create alternative options of getting in
Do
and
we
out.
have any timeline on a roundabout? Is there nothing? No? Okay.
That was a conversation when we presented to Planning Commission to a degree, and it's unknown at this point in time.
Okay.
So we'll have a plan that likely will not show a road to nowhere, and then that road will probably want to agree with the city. At what point there becomes a roundabout, we would have an interest of connecting to it.
Will that ever be a possibility where they would just say, yep, we're not doing it? Or do we have a commitment?
Could, there's no commitment, but Mayor Drennan was really smart, because when he's been going out for funding, if you think about Lahar and emergency evacuation and how White Hawk will be now an alternate route, eventually, once they acquire the Wing property, they'll be able to connect White Hawk to Calistoga. He's going down the pathway of emergency route, emergency access. Well, if you go down that pathway and start to think through not maybe into our space, well, now you can think about emergency funding and federal funding to connect our students, ingress and egress, through White Hawk to the evacuation route.
It opens up way more.
It opens up some pots and some dollars and some permissibility. So I think they're being very smart about how they're thinking about it, and we'll just have to stay working in partnership. Both Cliff and I reached out and said, let us know how we can help, if we need a letter or support, or start to think about, because you got 2 ways through. You have the bridge for kids, but then you have that other pathway through. So it gives us options, but no clarity on the roundabout, but we're going to want to pull back on a road to a roundabout that doesn't exist, and try to work that out with the city. Because we don't want a road that dead ends into the end of a field that goes nowhere, that we spent millions of dollars of taxpayers on. Like that would be a problem.
Yeah, we don't want to spend the money on
The road to
something.
nowhere.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
People are already upset about the bridge.
Yeah, they already don't like the bridge.
Oh my
Wait till they
gosh.
find out we spent $2 million on a road that ends in the middle of a field that goes nowhere.
Yeah, I think that would
Yet.
that'd be the
But it's
end
pretty.
of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
High school, so high school, backing up a couple months behind from the elementary school process. We're going in for a pre-application meeting with the high school for the high school CTE building next week. That's with the city. And then we'll start the similar steps that we're moving forward with the elementary as well. So this is the permitting milestones and our target dates. So the site plan review would be March, and the building permit would be similar, and then backing up to when we would start construction. We have, right now, Skanska's pricing it, the schematic design package right now, so we have some early numbers from them as VE as well, and so we're kind of packaging that in our overall budget. Will come to the board next month with a summary for that. What else for permitting? Do we have any Skanska next steps on
No,
that?
I think that
Yeah,
was,
that's kind of it.
that was.
Yeah. Any questions so far on the elementary or the high school?
I will say I went to a wedding and there was a lot of positive excitement talk about the high school.
Great.
Yeah, there were people there going, I'm so excited for our kids and it's going to be, you know, and I said yes, and the long-term plan is even more exciting. So, I mean, there's a lot of positive talk about that, so I'm really happy about that.
That's great.
I see the high school, looks like it starts construction in January. Hopefully it's not a bad year.
We're fine tuning that with Skanska. We'll probably come back to the board with an update on that.
Okay.
I think this is the schedule we have a lot of float time right now, not a lot, but some float time, I should say, in that schedule. So we're working with Skanska to fine tune that and come back to the board on some more specific start dates. I don't think that letter-wise.
Hoping for a mild winter.
We'll see.
Good catch, good catch.
There's a question mark around move portables. Is that still to be determined?
We haven't built a phasing and staging plan with Skanska, so yes, there definitely, we need to think through the site plan, the security, the staging. They're still not on that paper, but Skanska remains optimistic that they can build an elementary soon. So you saw multiple modalities of how that might phase out in May. If it ever turns out that an elementary can be completed in a timely way, that might change the whole context, because we could move all of them off and then stage and build a high school. So I think that just remain open to different ideas at this point in time, and once we get something in hand where we can build a plan, then we'll know what we can do. But yeah, that
To be determined.
to be determined
Yeah,
is
I'm okay with
possible.
that. I'm okay with that.
How far in advance can you do permitting? Like,
Yeah.
how long do the permits, once you get approval from the city or whoever you get that from, how long are they good for? Like, do they expire or?
They do expire.
They do expire.
Usually, generally, you can build and record, start within 3 years. I don't know specifically City of Orting and their level of, how long it would extend. Typically, jurisdictions are 1 to 2 years, and you can have at least a 1-year extension. That's usually very standard.
I was just wondering, if you got a chance to do something earlier on the high school because the elementary school is going so well, if you get those permits done ahead of time, we don't run into any risk of those expiring or anything like that.
We're not gonna
Shouldn't,
have that.
but
Okay.
the phasing plan and the build-out plan will drive when you need dollars. And so part of what we have a commitment with Director Freeze, Ben, and myself is to make a recommendation about next bond sale. So we're targeting next summer. Well, if you're going to build an elementary in a year, you're going to need more of that capital sooner. So just know a lot of things will be happening in the next year that you'll have to think about, from a permit and when and how to phase and how to fund. But right now, we're enjoying 3.47% interest, which is making Marcy smile.
Yeah, she's loving that.
Yeah, that's not too shabby.
Great.
Great.
It's so confusing. I'm really grateful for
Yes.
your support and your being here, your partnership.
It's great, it's great.
Okay.
Excited, yeah.
Great.
Lord, any questions?
Well, I'm
further
just focused on
questions?
the move-in date. I don't know, I can't get that.
We'll have more of an update as probably
Yes.
October rolls around. Yeah, that's looking into their next round 2. It's a good segue to our next steps. That round 2 is what we're calling design development. It's part of that process of our development of the drawings. And so round 2 is exciting because a lot of things will be more set after some of our early schematic pricing set that Skanska's been working off of. So this round 2 is where it can be a little bit more fine-tuned.
Okay.
Along the schedule.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out on a rainy day.
Yeah, at least it's not 80.
They were here all day.
Very productive
Page
day.
turns.
Nice. All right, May financial report. All is well. Good. Have a good night. All right, you guys, thank you.
Thank you.
I did not see any major questions with the financial report, so we'll move on to presented by Director Bannon. 2026, 2027 budget presentation.
We don't have any money. I'll just.
We have no money.
I'll just-
No money.
We don't have any money.
We didn't make any money, we have no money.
We make no money, we get no monny. I can spend before I get it,
That means there's no taxes.
Before you get it. Isn't that the truth?
So I am going to probably go through this pretty quick because most of you have seen this before. It's not really new information, but it is this year's information for the 26-27. All the wonderful news from tonight has to be paid for somehow. And I have to create a budget with the help of my new boss because he's amazing at it. And my old boss, because they get numbers, which is very helpful in my position. Oh,
tough.
Well, one is learning
Rock
numbers
hard
and one
place.
knows numbers.
Yeah.
So it's both. Who reviews you?
That's where I'm going. Yeah. Just the
I got my
evaluation.
review already done this year, so really forget in 11 months.
That's good.
So the budget, school district budgets are required to be done in a form by July 10th and sent to our ESD. So that did happen. It's not completely done. It's through the OSPI website. They review it, they take a look at it, but then they give it back to me so I can make changes because you have not been given the opportunity to comment on it, nor there's our public, and so it does not get adopted formally until after the board meeting in August, should you choose to approve it. But the July 10th requirement has been met. It happens every year. We get a budget ready. The other document that you got in your board docs is the forward-facing public information about our entire budget, trying to explain it as easily as possible for a 300-page document that doesn't make a lot of sense to anyone who doesn't know program, subprogram, object, activity, and all that fun stuff. So our budget, we have 6 different funds. We do create a budget, or I create a budget for each one of them. This year was fun because I haven't had to do debt service fund for a while. So we actually have money coming in next year for debt service because our bond did pass. So that was a good reminder of how to do that. Capital projects is made up of all of our work that they just talked about, along with our early learning center that's still being built, that, and then impact fees that we're getting, that we're going to be getting more of, that get used for during that, in that also. The other thing that happens in the capital projects is if we have big projects within the districts, such as the lights at the stadium or roofs that are being redone, those all happen out of capital projects. You have approved in a previous meeting through a budget extension to transfer money to capital projects to pay for some of those things, because those things, while we have money in general fund, they have to be paid for out of capital projects. So I come to you and ask for a budget transfer because I can't just do that. It has to be approved by the board. General fund is our biggest one. Obviously, it's based on our students. Most of the money we get money from different directions. The biggest part comes from apportionment, and that's all based on students. The ASB budget is all done by the kids at the school. I get the information from OMS and OHS that they've adopted through their process at their schools, meeting with their different clubs, groups, and they combine them, have them approved. They come over to me, and that creates the ASB budget. Transportation Vehicle Fund is really made up of buses. We get money for buses, which unfortunately the state decided to decrease funding in that this year. So our bus fund is a little bit smaller than it was, but we still have a bus fund. And so that's what the entire Transportation Vehicle Fund is, the money coming in for depreciation and buying new buses. There is some talk that they did extend it this year, that if vehicles other than buses are being used for to from school, there is a chance that we can get funding that direction for some vans. So that's a new part of Transportation Vehicle Fund that got put forward. We're not there yet, but we could in the future.
Wasn't it always yellow buses?
Always yellow buses. They modified it a little bit this year to,
Good.
one, to decrease our I shouldn't say they decreased our funding, they put the funding that they used to give over a longer period of time. They decided that our buses should last longer than they did before.
And they never had to ride a Twinkie bus, did they?
Correct.
Or drive it.
Or drive it.
Or maintain it.
Or
Correct.
make 45 miles
Right.
from civilization.
Correct. So, people who are giving the funding don't always have to do that kind of thing, so. Private Purpose Trust Fund, it's really small. It's made up of all of our high school scholarships. The high school runs a process every year where they distribute the money based on the way that we got the money. So each scholarship that is given to our district comes with how you're going to distribute it. So the high school goes through that process. That makes up the entire Private Purpose Trust Fund. So that was pretty simple. The budget summary is what I already talked about. That's what you have in front of you. Our enrollment, our K-12 enrollment is 2663. I cannot read tonight. It's gone down slightly from last year because our kindergarten class is trending towards smaller than our graduating seniors. It used to be opposite, so our overall enrollment is, I think, total 7 more than last year with the other parts of it, but it's a little bit smaller. This is just a review quickly of what our enrollment has looked like over the past 10 years. We had the dip in 2021, of course, but other than that, it stayed pretty static from 1920 through now. We have not seen a lot of increase, nor are we projecting a large increase for next year. We do the same process that we have previous years, where we roll up from the grade before and then try to predict kindergarten as much as we can. We do deduct from 10th to 11th grade some seniors because they go towards, not seniors, students, because they go to Running Start. And traditionally we have found that we tend to lose 20 to 30 kids between the 11th and 12th grade year, so we took those off this year, so there isn't such a dip at the high school level to their funding source, because we have been noticing a trend over a while, that the dip between juniors and seniors. These are our CT numbers. Our CT numbers went skyrocketing when OMS changed some of their classes a couple of years ago, so that is a big increase for that. Our Running Start numbers took a dip. They were pretty good. They took a dip when we started adding more college and the high school classes, so it's not, the kids are not participating in, they're just participating in a different way, and this is Running Start only, not the kids that are in college and the high school. Special ed has continued to grow. We do roll it over as a static number, but as you can see, it does tend to grow on a yearly basis.
Marcy, I'm sorry, I do have a question. As you talk about college and the high school versus Running Start, does that change our funding? I'm guessing they're staying college and the high school, so.
College and the high school means the money comes to our teachers and our district and the high school, and we get funding for the other positions that we get funding for when we have a kid in district.
Right.
Running Start, we get a chunk of money for the kid. There's a set Running Start rate that we receive, and that does not go towards any type of staffing that is needed for those students. It goes, they give us an amount, and then we have to pay out 93% of it to the school. So whichever school they're attending sends us an invoice, and 93% of it definitely goes to them. Once again, our Running Start numbers are like the rest of our numbers. We get money based on an annualized average. So they bill us for who's actually there, but we don't necessarily get the same amount of students, because we get it over 10 months of average, where they're billing us for kids that are there in fall quarter, spring quarter, winter, which may not be the same students over the year. So we could end up paying more than the 93% out. But we usually get a little bit, which helps offset some of the costs of the high school that they need to have for, we still have needs, and we still have staffing needs, we just don't get funding for those staffing needs. They call the indirects that we get to keep sufficient enough to cover that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
But college and the high school is housed in our building.
Correct.
So that would raise that amount.
It would make our student count higher.
Yes.
In the high school, yes.
Got it.
Which impacts apportionment.
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, they both are apportionment, but they're different portions of apportionment.
We keep all our apportionment for college and high school students, and our Running Start students, that's pretty much a pass-through on the college.
Pretty much,
Right,
yeah.
right, okay.
So we want to keep them college and the high school up, so
Yes.
it's a positive move.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, really, I think there's multiple benefits. Plus, if you have college and the high school, sometimes you have kids that can't make
Yes.
transportation to out of,
That's a big
and so if
one.
you have more
Access.
offerings in district, then it makes it a little bit more accessible.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem, anytime. So we know special ed students, it's been increasing, it'll probably increase, but we roll it over as the same. Our young age, which is 5 and younger special ed, is the other tile. The state decided in 2021 they would stop giving us birth to 3 money, and so that's why the big dip happened in that year. And then I think that's 2021 plus COVID. So but we've been going up after that. We're staying pretty static with that number. Our preschool numbers, our 3 to 5, have been pretty across the board, not changing a lot, and we're not right now forecasting a big increase next year. Where's the money come from? The most of our money comes from apportionment. If we don't have students, we don't get the big chunk of our money. Levy is, because if you look at the other document I gave you and you look at the revenues from apportionment compared to last year to this year budget-wise, we're not getting very much more money. The state is not increasing apportionment at the same level as our costs are increasing, which is unfortunate, but it is a thing. So our levy, the way we structured our levy to go up each year is going to help cover the costs that we're no longer getting, the revenue we're no longer getting from the state. So I think over the next couple of years, we'll see the state apportionment numbers continue to decrease and our levy continue to increase on our revenue percentages. It did this year for sure. I'm sure it's going to go up again next year. State categorical is like special needs, learning assistance, English language learner, transportation, it's made up of that. That stayed pretty static. Federal funds, which is, we don't get very much in that anymore. Luckily, we've stayed static. We have not decreased, as some surrounding districts have taken big decreases. We have not. Fee programs, we don't have a lot of there, but it's where our money goes in for our school lunch program, and luckily we are getting more money from the state because what Cassie has gotten passed through for us for our K-5 kids getting to eat for free. So that's awesome. Other funds, which isn't much, is our college and the high school teachers. Some of the colleges will give us tiny stipend for the extra work they do. That's a pass-through through other funds. They give us the money, we give the staff the little bit of bump they get from there. It's not much. Pie chart of the revenues, just so you can see, the big gray part is general purpose, so it is still the biggest part between that and the state special purposes. The local taxes is our next biggest chunk. So where's it go? Well, most of our money goes to teaching, of course. When we get to the other slide, most of our funding goes, or most of our expenditures, it's 80% or just about 80% to staffing and 20% to everything else, which is consistently the same. Maintenance, operation, billing, admin, central admin, which is us versus this office versus the schools. Food service has gone up a bit because of the program. She's increased it. It's gone great. Transportation has gone up a little bit too. Unfortunately, other programs, which includes our insurance, you all know that went way up also. That was not an increase in technology, unfortunately, which I would have, sorry. Our insurance costs went up. We'll just go there. Our expenditures, this is just a pie chart, same thing in a different way because I really like pie charts.
Who doesn't?
I know, right? Pie charts, just seeing it in that way, just in numbers.
I'm getting hungry.
I know, I should make an actual, like an apple pie, cherry pie.
Yeah, you should.
That would be more fun. Where to go by program? Basic education gets the most of our money. Well, that is, of course, because that is most of our kids are in basic education. Special education is another chunk, support services, other services, CTE. Just another chart of what that looks like. Of course, our biggest chunk is in basic ed, and then support services is our next biggest chunk after that. Our numbers go by object because, you know, I get to divide everything out by different things, and salaries and benefits are 80% of our thing. So here's how it goes by object. Most of our money, our biggest chunk is certificated salaries, and then then benefits, and then classified salaries. Everything else is a smaller chunk than that. Benefits are a big chunk because state determines how much we're going to pay towards SEB, and that's been going up on a yearly basis. We get most of the money from that, but of course we have many unfunded positions that the state doesn't think we need. This is the other chart that about 70, I can't even read it from here, but like 78, 79%, we're staying static at how much of our budget is going towards salaries. It's always right around 80%. It's staying around 80% for next year. Summary of all of the funds, I'm hoping for I'm projecting a beginning fund balance of general fund for 5.2 million, ending fund balance with budgets, with revenues and expenditures, and ending at about 3.6. The other ones are on the screen for you. They aren't changing much. We hope to spend as much as we get in the other funds, so. My favorite slide of all. So every year I get to tell you guys our MSOC disclosure. So many years ago, the state decided that we needed to make sure that we're spending the money we get on supplies and materials on supplies and materials. So this I'm required to show to you every year, that the money we get in these specific programs is less or more than we actually spend. And our difference is we're overspending the amount they give us by 2.6 million. It went up.
So they have to fix that.
They would, I would love it if they fixed it, yes. And this is on MSOCs. It's not like we overspend. This is not supplies. This is needed stuff that we have to run our schools. We're not at the point that we want to start making our kids bring toilet paper as a supply, so that'd be awful. Okay, that's it. I tried to speed through that. Do you have any questions? Got to pay for everything we talked about tonight.
All the way through, just comments all the way through.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I never understand it when I look back on it, but when you explain it, I always understand it, so thank you.
And then this will come to you if there's any comments, it will go out for public comment. The next board meeting, there will be a public hearing at the beginning of it. Fingers crossed I get a comment this year. Could you just make a comment? John can make a comment. That would be awesome. Just once, one time before I retire, I would love a public comment on it. The rest of the comments happen during levy time when I mismanage public funds, so.
Yes. Marcy, when it comes to, we have the distinguishing factors of Running Start versus college and the high school.
Yes.
Where does, like the Pierce County Skills Center, where does that program fit into the budget wise?
Pierce County Skills Center, the students are, that attend there are claimed by that district. So Bethel School District hosts the Pierce County Skills Center. The school district gets the FTE for those students that attend there. We do not.
Do they attend all day?
Skill centers they attend half day commonly, so what skill center would claim is a 0.5 FTE, we would claim a 0.5 FTE. Skill center by law can claim up to a 1.6 FTE, so there's other summer programs and ways for them to capture more than the half, but in effect, if a 1.0 kid would be there for a few periods and here for a few periods.
We do provide transportation still to there. We still do, yes.
We
We fund that, that comes out of the levy. We have not stopped that, along with our after-school activity. Buses. We still do that as well.
Maritime, like the Maritime Academy will start in the fall. They might claim 0.5 and then we'll have to think through, can we really service the other 0.5 or will part of that 0.5 on our side be an online class, for instance, because transportation is going to take a long time.
Yeah, an
But we do
hour
have that
there
part.
and back.
Correct.
It's hard to
I think we should share more often that we pay for the transportation for that because we're enabling the kids to do that. And I know it's really popular and the parents are really proud of it, but I know the community doesn't understand that we also help that happen.
Yeah, the data, we do share the data. Annually, we talk about the number of riders on.
And where does your levy dollars go?
Yeah. So we do talk about
We can
it.
emphasize that absolutely in upcoming mailers or communication.
Because that's a positive for us, for sure.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
max out our seats, so they've limited us, so every year we max out our seats, so
Yeah.
we have more kids, they just don't accept them, so we've maxed out, and now they do a lottery system.
Yeah, because we only get a certain amount of
Yes.
seats at the skills center for our school district.
Guaranteed, yes. If they happen to have other ones, then lottery process. We still max out what we're allowed. The interlocal agreement states how many we get, which is renegotiated like every 10 years.
I think it's a lottery all the way around.
We have to be given the certain number. The number isn't very large though, unfortunately. I mean, that number is not big because we are one of the smaller school districts, but lottery is the rest of it. We do get a few guaranteed spots, just not very many.
And in a couple years, we'll have our own CTE facilities, so it might shift a little bit.
Some could.
Yes, that's when the programs are available here. We're able to do the programs here that are offered there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like our culinary. 'Cause
Right,
our culinary
yeah.
classroom is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. I've had their food once or twice. It's pretty impressive. Not that ours isn't. I'm not saying ours. Ours is amazing as well, but it's our high school.
Marcy, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
questions, board.
Sure.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. I'd like to invite the public to take a look at the presentation and bring forward questions. If anybody ever has one.
Just one.
This one's all we're looking for. I feel like we need to be prepared, like it's got to be like a confetti popper or something.
Right.
All right. Board self-assessment survey. As president, I spent some time looking at this, and I feel like this was our best year yet. But really, I wanted to ask you guys if you saw anything that caught your attention that we need to talk about, clarify. What I'm looking for when I look through the results of this is, are we aligned in our understanding of what we're doing? Do we have, are we answering questions in different ways? And as I went through, I did not see anything that brought concern to me.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
2025, there's 6. There's 6 responses, so everyone else is 5, but I don't understand the,
What page are you on?
well, right here.
No, just look at one of them.
See?
There's 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand where that comes
Someone
from.
took it twice. No.
I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know.
because it's consistent all the way down.
Yep.
And I don't know.
2025.
I did not notice that.
I did not catch that
I did,
either.
and I'm like, why is that? It's saying 6.
I don't think we opened it up to our student board reps.
I'm wondering, and I didn't take
don't
it
think
as
so.
a,
Did we have
As a
a,
candidate.
I was wondering if there was a shift in a board member, like
Yeah.
right about the time we did it, but that wouldn't make any sense either. We
I
wouldn't
don't
ask anybody
remember.
brand new to do it.
We'll have to ask, maybe Bonnie
I
can
don't
see.
know.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know why my eyes didn't catch that, because it sticks out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I was just curious. I'm like, well, that's interesting.
I have a feeling it's an error though, like just in the.
Way to observe.
in
I'm
the-
just wondering if
Yeah,
somebody
no.
took it twice and didn't realize. I don't know.
That actually is probably the most
Because
plausible.
it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, that, actually, I wouldn't put it past
Could be.
the 2025 board to forget we did it and do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah, so there's that too.
That's funny.
No, the sad is we
The
didn't
different
catch it
password we
last
put
year.
in there, because
Yeah.
it doesn't ask for your name or
But we're
anything, it
going
asks
through
for
it.
a identifier.
Right.
And maybe I
Yeah.
thought I didn't do it, and so I put in an onion instead of a flower or something
Right.
silly.
I don't know.
Yes.
Because like I said, it's consistent all the way through.
What kind of flower do you put in?
Okay, moving on. Okay, so I do think it's important that we do the self-assessment, and I am always looking for gaps and deviations, but really this year, we were all the closest we've been.
And I think that that actually speaks to, it takes a lot of time sitting in this role and attending these meetings and learning school district business in order to understand what these questions are asking.
Yeah.
So I think that that's just part of it.
I'm going to say my first time taking it, I felt like there was a whole lot of I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
same.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
I had I don't knows for probably 3 years.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because you just don't, it's hard to connect the dots
Yeah.
of what you know you're doing in every single meeting to how these questions are worded.
And sometimes I'll read it and it'll ask me something and I'm thinking, do we do that? Then I have to sit back and I think and I go, no, we do that.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The other
It
thing,
makes you assess definitely, hey, I gotta process this. Yeah.
the other thing is, because I know some of the things I've put in have changed a lot over the years, because We've undergone a lot of change. And I think things have been more, I think that lots of people have been responsive to things that we had concerns about.
Yeah.
So I think that's, we need to give ourselves a pat on the back that there have been a lot of positive changes
Yeah.
that would affect that.
Yes.
Well, it shows a cohesive board, which is what you really need to have a
Yeah.
successful
Right.
district. You have to have a cohesive board. And that's what this is showing, and we each take this individually on our own time and put a lot of thought and effort into it, right? And we're all on the same page. Right, there's a few spots in here where it was, some of the time. Well, okay, good, but I mean, for the most part, you can see the cohesiveness on this board, which is very, very important, especially right now when we're building schools, right?
I will say that in one of the questions, one of the things that I noticed, the collaboration with colleagues, that's, in my personal opinion, it's really hard to do. I know that we try to get to WASDA once a year and that that's important, you know, but we're all living and some of us are still working and plus the meetings that we do here, collaborating with peers is not an easy thing to do. And so I'm grateful for the knowledge of our superintendent and being able to have that, but just being able to get out and constantly go to regional meetings or anything like that.
Or other board meetings.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I was really glad to see that we have a sometimes on there instead of a never.
Yeah. I think too, one thing that has helped us, and I say this as, you know, I won't be on the board forever, but we've got built-in structure that holds us accountable to a lot of this, you know, policy review, the existence of policies. I give credit to staff for helping us with that and providing that structure. But I think that's important. That would be something that I know other boards do not have, that they struggle with, and that has been imperative to our board operating well and checking all the boxes that we're ultimately responsible for.
And communication is so much better.
Yeah.
So much better.
I think so too.
Between us, within the system, it's just so much better.
Well, and we know the goal, right? We want that student voice, we want our staff, we want, right? That's where we need it to be, and everyone sees that. So, yeah.
This will be really important as we bring on a new director. Since somebody's vacating her role, and pretty sure I haven't approved that, but.
Don't we have to vote on that?
Yeah, isn't that a vote? But anyway, it's important that we review this. We've moved it a little further out in our schedule to give time and space to other projects and to this conversation, but I didn't want to just pull it from our conversation this year.
And also to see years past too, the improvement on the board. So they've
that's what I was
taken it
seeing.
serious, right? You guys took it serious and said, oh, we got to work on that area. And to see that you have improved in those areas. So, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
I'd be interested to see, because I mean, it only goes back 5 years, right?
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see like 10 years.
Like, it'd be totally different people.
We didn't do this.
So, okay.
We didn't.
So that's really tough to get.
It was like, would be, but it was like 10 questions.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
I mean, and don't quote me on that, but I mean, it wasn't so when I did this year, I was like, wow.
It's very in-depth.
Yeah, and I was really happy to see that because before I felt like, this isn't really making a difference, right? We really couldn't look back on the past and go, where do we need, this is way more, there's more depth to this.
Even being able to recognize my own individual growth in these areas, you know, would be nice to see, you know? Like, how did I answer those questions my second year in versus my 7th or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just it also kind of measures like your grasp of the whole ecosystem here.
Exactly. Because I'm asking questions this year that I probably should have asked, 7 years ago, but I didn't know to ask them.
Right, you've learned, it's good.
Oh, growing, yep.
We all learn, I learn every time. I learn
Lifelong
about
learning.
it. Every time. Okay, good
Okay.
stuff, guys, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you to Bonnie and you for supporting this. We have a couple actions this evening, and the first one is prepared by Director Bannon, fees and fines, schedule, meal pricing. Oh, wow, I scrolled too far.
She was going,
Like, I
yay.
think, yeah, we gotta do something else up here, I think.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
some
thank you,
vouchers.
thank you. Actually, there's not a lot in the consent agenda, but I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve items 1 through 4 on the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you for. I need like a checkbox completed on this platform.
Done.
Yeah, because I get scrolling
Add
and
that.
then I'm like, where am I at again?
Yeah, but see, just like the self-assessment, we're just going,
Just working together. Yeah, I appreciate that. You did it again. Nobody said that. That's nice. Okay, now we're at fees and fines. And I just need a motion.
I move to accept the 2026, 2027 fees and fines schedule / meal pricing as presented.
Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And this next one is resolution for racial balance.
I had to read this about 8 times
So
before
did
I
I.
understood it. I was like, what is this really saying? Couldn't get it, but yeah.
But as I understand it, this would be a normal resolution.
Yeah.
For the default process is a requirement.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. I feel like we're doing project stuff, guys.
I know.
Okay, I will take a motion.
I move to approve resolution 14, 2025, 2026, racial balance.
Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Board comments?
I commented too much already.
You already did? I commented too. Yeah,
Good meeting.
good meeting.
we have gotten better about giving our thoughts as we're going along, and that being acceptable, because it's kind of hard to listen to things and then only comment about it after the fact.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that we're speaking up more in the meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's totally acceptable, but it makes more sense.
I think I've always been a little hesitant to do so because I don't want to take up X amount of time, like an excessive amount of time with the comments during the meeting that causes, so I think I've always been a little bit hesitant, but I didn't obviously care to.
Yeah, well, I think one thing this group is really good about is being concise.
Yeah.
Asking your questions and planning ahead, but also being open in the meeting. Sometimes the idea just comes. So I like to maintain that balance. It's not perfect, Robert's rules, but I think it works for us.
Yeah.
Somebody else can decide differently another day.
Ed's, the email that Bonnie sent us to read the article,
The TNT?
Yes.
It's good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Good coverage.
A lot of information.
We thought Isabella did a very nice job. A lot of strong proactive coverage, and she deepened her understanding. And of course, we extended the offer to, if you want to know more heading into legislative session about funding and imbalances, we would be happy to help educate.
Yeah, it was a really good article.
I remembered my comment, just Kathy's position will be open. And so I just want to encourage you to keep your eyes and ears open for folks who might be interested in running from her district.
Your area.
4.
Four.
Yeah.
And I prepared for your eyes. Happy to share, if you give me the go-ahead, all the different precincts that encompass Director District 4 based on the November 2025 voter rolls. So you'd be able to scroll through the thousands of names and see if you recognize anyone. But we will talk about what to post and when. As soon as we get the green light, we know that's official.
Yeah.
We'll have one publication that will happen between now and then, which is our fall newsletter. We can do a postcard, start advertising and push things out. I don't believe that's officially communicated to where we would officially act, but once all that happens, we're happy to help support and communicate, of course.
And we can put it off as long as you want.
Well, isn't, I don't know for
Another
sure.
whole year.
No, I don't know for sure because I, like I said, I'm not moving until I have something to move into.
Yes.
So, you know.
As long as you want.
Yes.
Well, I think we'll need to start some communications early on anyway, as far as, you know, the
Getting
fall
interest.
election of 2027, so.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it takes a while sometimes to find folks who are willing to commit.
Yeah.
So, but it's important work. All right. So if we're all good, I'll adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:44 PM.